Currently, Nigeria is experiencing the worst of dark days as power outage is a constant phenomenon. Businesses, especially small-scale ventures, are all closing down as the fund for alternative power supply is eating deep into the people's pockets.
People that have money started buying generator. Those who don't have money started buying kerosene on the light stand. Those having television and so on, but they have no money to buy generator. Most of all those things that use light were destroyed in their homes by either rat or otherwise.
There's never been an appreciable improvement. Okay? For instance, now you come to shop in the morning, the light is off, only for it to come around 6 or 7. We still buy fuel. Some of us who run Biafra still buy ice block. So where is the benefit?
It's not easy. You don't watch news. You are not connected. It's just like you are disconnected from the world.
I've been working here, getting to 2 years now, without light. I came to this community, I don't even see light, even for one day.
People are asking for cold minerals, pure water, so many things like that. But there's no light. We are buying block. Where the block that we are buying in a day, you cannot make market out of it. There's no gain on it.
In response to what we now see as a big energy security issue is what we have unveiled in our energy mix. We are accelerating our commitment to coal. We are accelerating our commitment to solar. We are accelerating our commitment to hydro. And as you will see, even in the Kaduna power that we visited yesterday, is a combination now of gas and LPFO or diesel. So, and all of these are consistent with the first phase of our three-pronged roadmap of incremental, steady, and uninterrupted power. We will have stable electricity when Nigerians stop vandalizing pipelines. We will have stable electricity when Nigerian contractors awarded contracts to build distribution assets, build them properly.
The Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation (NNPC) owns a 24.9% stake in WAPCO, making it the second largest shareholder after Chevron West African Gas Pipeline Limited, which owns a 36.9% stake. Nigeria may not be the only victim of gas supply shortage. For the Ghanaian Minister of Petroleum, Arma Kofi Bush, the recent cut in gas supply has led to loss of jobs among members, causing deep poverty.
And when we link it to the gas availability, as you know, all the vandalism are impacting the availability of the gas. And I know the government, the federal government of Nigeria, is doing the necessary effort to address all these challenges, but the ministers will be sharing what is going on in Nigeria.
Africa's proven natural gas reserves expanded remarkably from the mid-80s up to the 2000s, with Nigeria holding most reserves in the continent. But the output is yet to be very impressive. This is blamed on the limited infrastructure for the resource.
We've got to have a twin obligation position. We have to work with our neighbors. At the same time, we have to obviously work within our country. And when you, it doesn't sound paradoxically conflicting as it does, as it may sound at first bite. Because you realize that ultimately, when the surplus stage of gas point gets reached, you've got to have markets. If you don't deploy the infrastructures into the West African countries as your first immediate market, you're going to have a problem. Imagine if we had done this in terms of refining, and so are able to bring in products into Nigeria when you have scarcity, when you have difficulties. Then you wouldn't have the kind of scarcity that we faced for weeks. And now we're beginning to go backwards and talk to countries like Ghana, countries like Ivory Coast, where some of the refineries work a little bit and they don't need some of the excess supply as a first point of takeoff for product consumption. So you look at it on a long-term basis. The founding fathers meant well in terms of trying to integrate this market. It's all part of that whole regional geographical development. But the same policies that we're bullishly now taking on in terms of expansion of our gas delivery in Nigeria will be the same policies that will enable us to be able to take out what we do not need. Obviously, we've been impaired by virtue of all the militancy attacks and some of the sabotages here and there. But that is a small element of it, because let's face it, if you have gas infrastructure on land, that really has not been exposed to too much attacks. It's largely the shallow water areas. So we do need to massively, and part of the reasons why we undertook the China trip was this matters like this. Gas requires over 15 to 18 billion dollars of investment over the next 5 to 10 years to be able to reach the kind of milestones that are essential for us to provide gas, both for power in this country and for regional distribution. And we're going to be working very, very bullishly on this going forward. Well, first we're losing issue of sanity and peace, which way you can put a price over. And then, of course, you're talking in terms of volumes. We went down all the way to 1.2 million barrels from 2.2. We're back to about 1.9. We're hoping to, if things remain stable, get things back to about 2.2, hopefully sometime in August. We're working around the clock on the issues of militancy. Lots of engagement taking place, not just by me only, but by a lot of stakeholders and players, trying to deepen the understanding in this issue, on this issue. And yielding results, I know we had a bit of loss of time last week while I was out, but what you can see is beginning to stabilize again. This thing requires just a constant massaging.
Industry experts say that Nigeria's proven gas reserves could be as high as 16.8 trillion if steps are taken to explore for gas. The majority of the country's proven natural gas reserves are located in the Niger Delta, where security is a major concern.
A lot of West African countries are also not the richest countries in the world, so they're having their own financial issues. Ghana, for example, has been owing quite a lot, over $140 million in arrears of payments to the group. When you owe that kind of money to a small organization, it's quite deepening. So rather than continue to bully them into when are you going to pay, you can see from my speech that what I'd like to now do is sit down with them and try and develop a financing model akin to what we try to do for our own sector, so they can have an easy passage and make sure that there's a regularity of payment. So we need to help them further to develop their cash flow. Two, we need to address infrastructure in such a way that there's a massive demand factor met in Nigeria. And so once you've done that, maybe what we're therefore sending out are basically leftover, so it's not hitting you as bad as when you have made an investment specifically for that region. It becomes a side market, as it were. And then three, we need to deepen the infrastructure into the communities, not just dropping a point of supply into tanks, so that you can then create a community of consumers in their major cities. And if you're able to deliver that at prices that are much better than they're buying diesel or buying other sorts of fuel, you are therefore growing internal market as opposed to just external regional points, depot markets. And there are long-term financings for all this. So I need to sit down with the company WAPCO itself to look at their long-term financing model. So a lot of work still to be done. There are two means of transporting gas. Obviously, cheapest is pipeline. Next to that is by vessels. These vessels are very specialized, pressurized tankage vessels. They're very expensive, and the unit cost on transportation is much, much higher. So at the end of the day, what you're passing to the consumers is much, much higher. And in any case, it doesn't solve your problem in terms of a hinterland distribution. So ultimately, frankly, there isn't a solution than to deepen the technology on the pipeline itself so that they're less vulnerable, and then technologize the whole essence of security watch over the pipeline so that you get first alarms, if somebody tries to mess around with things like that. So a great deal of initial investment required to find a lasting total frontline peace. I think that's really what it is, and we need to have the energy to make those initial investments, both in terms of the fibers of the pipelines, the depth at which they are located. So it almost requires relaying of quite a lot of the pipelines.